You've got questions?
We've got answers.
Tune in Tuesdays at 12 on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, where we will be hosting a variety of community experts that will answer your questions.
Get excited. We are going to have a panel of Beautiful Self tribe members who are metastatic. They're going to share some stories, we're going to have some laughs, we're going to get real and answer some questions.
Yeah, no, we're live and we're going, and I'm going to just jump right in and just say hi, everyone, and welcome to Tip Tuesday. It is Jillian.
And Michelle.
And we are going to get to our very special guest shortly, but we hope you all had a wonderful, wonderful week. And today we're going to be chatting about a subject, and I think it's a very hard subject to talk about in the community, and it's often a very misunderstood subject in the community, and that is stage 4 breast cancer, or what they call metastatic. And for those of you who don't know what that means, metastatic means that cancer has traveled through the bloodstream to other parts of the body, which means that these fighter survivors take continuous cancer treatment as they wait, in hopes of a cure. And they literally are never off treatment. And I can tell you that they are heroes in our community, absolute heroes, because of what they have to go through every day with this disease and how they have to face it. And, you wouldn't even know it for the most part by looking at them. So we are very, very lucky to have with us today 3 extraordinary women who also happen to be living with metastatic breast cancer. And by the way, all 3 of them, we're proud to say, are Beautiful Self Alumna. Yay, we love that. They're part of our family, and they said they would be happy to come here to give hope, to shed light on this subject. So as always, I'm always checking in on Facebook to see if anybody's in the chat or on Instagram, because we would love to hear from you, love to hear your questions, your stories. So Michelle, I think we're going to skip housekeeping today and get right to our ladies, right?
Yeah, let's get to the meat of this.
Let's get to the meat of it. So let me introduce you to our absolutely gorgeous panel. We're so excited. So I am going to start with Elisa. And Elisa, hi, Elisa. There she's over there. Beautiful. She is a mom of 3. Just to give you a little background on her, she's a mom of 3 gorgeous young women. She's a licensed real estate agent. She's working towards her master's degree in holistic counseling. And by the way, I just want to tell a quick story. Early on, when Beautiful Self we had grown out of Michelle's house, but we didn't have any funding. We had nowhere to go. Elise welcomed us into her beautiful home until we could find a home. So we are forever grateful for that, because so many of our gorgeous images were taken in Elisa's home. So thank you, Elise. Elisa, you are amazing.
That was a pleasure.
We were so happy. Thank you. And now we got Kathy. Kathy, hi, gorgeous. Kathy is now a stay-at-home mom. And, you talked about you are a creative, and that you really live your life through right now creativity, through painting and building and photography and being with your family. And that's what is keeping you moving and flowing. So we want to talk more about that later. So we're so happy you're here, Miss Kathy. So good to see you.
Hi to see you.
And hello. And then we have Dena, and Dena is a former executive and my friend. I will say, not that you're not all my friend, but I have a lot of contact with Dena outside of this. She's a fabulous woman, a fabulous wife, who has now dedicated her time to advocacy. And just so for those of you who don't know, she is also the president-elect for our Beautiful Self Board of Directors. So she plays a really crucial role within Beautiful Self. So we were very happy that Dee said also she would talk to us about her metastatic journey. So ladies, I am going to get right into it, because we just have so many questions, and we're excited to hear what you all have to say. So first of all, I'm going to ask each of you this first question, and that is, I'll start with Elisa. Elisa, can you quickly share with us your original diagnosis with breast cancer and then its return?
My original diagnosis was in 2012 at the age of 39. I had stage 3B lobular carcinoma. Just a tumor just showed up out of nowhere one day. And, I had the typical treatment. I had a bilateral mastectomy. I had Taxol, I had AC, chemo, radiation, all that fun stuff. And it was just I guess it was just like a snowball of things that just happened. And surprisingly, it came back again. I was on hormonal therapy through the years, but in 2019, it returned. I was having some symptoms that I just didn't really think were a big deal. Not a big deal, but I guess I just overlooked them. I had moved to Rhode Island. It was a new place for me. I thought I was gaining weight, where in reality, I was swelling. And it returned on my superior vena cava. And that started my metastatic journey, new meds and stuff like that.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And I want to come back to something you said too about you were like, because I think that a lot of times people think that when we become hypochondriacs after our first journey with cancer. So we can tend to start to ignore things, because I feel like after a while people are like, calm down, you're fine. You're making a big deal out of it.
Yes,
so
I agree.
I'm happy that you shared that. Kathy, tell us a little bit about your original diagnosis and then the return.
It showed up 2015. My son was 8 months old, so I immediately knew something was wrong. I discovered it in the shower, and I called. I didn't know who to call because I was 35 and I never even had anything remotely close to serious like that. So I called and everything was so quick. I was diagnosed immediately with stage 2. I had the bilateral mastectomy. Then I had lymph nodes removed from my left arm for a second surgery, and did the usual, the chemo, and I didn't have radiation. And I wasn't aware of how things were, like 30% chance. I didn't want to know, really, because it was over. And then it returned 2017. I thought I was having gallbladder issues, so I went and had an ultrasound of my gallbladder, and it metastasized in my liver, my sternum, and my hip, and the lymph nodes by my liver. And just like that, a big bomb. And I was in shock for a while. And
and here you are.
Here I am.
Here you are, pushing through. By the way, and thank you for sharing that. I do want to say that there is a lot of metastatic girls in the group right now on Facebook, all like cheering on, saying, I'm a thriver, like, let's go, let's make, like, I get chills when I look at this community. Dee, will you tell us a little bit? I want to preface, Dee, too, that Dee and I were partners in radiation. We came in and out at the same time. And that's how we got, so close. And we always laugh because everyone told us that we looked alike when we were bald and had no like brows or anything to distinguish us. We kind of had those same elfin kind of features. So people like, Dee, no, wait, chill, wait, no, that's Dee. And it was just great. And Dee was always, and still is an inspiration to me. So tell me about your original diagnosis and then your return.
Thanks, Jillian, but you've also forgot the loud and obnoxious part.
Yeah.
So let's just go, let's be real with that one. But my initial diagnosis was in November of 2013. I was 2B. I went through chemo and radiation and the regular course of treatment. And I had 15 surgeries, partially my mistake. I was with a surgeon at first who was woefully unqualified for my complications, but I found the right one. And I had surgery number 15. I was 3 months away from my 5-year cancer-free versary. And it came back with a vengeance. Unlike the other ladies, all of a sudden I dropped 15 pounds, but it looked like I was 9 months pregnant. And it came back in my ribs, abdomen, pelvis, and liver. And I'm just entering my 3rd year with the diagnosis.
And I just want to say, Elisa, thank you for coming on bald, because I know we had that discussion about it and you weren't sure what you wanted to do, but I really appreciate it. And I think that one of the important things is, as we look, say, at, Elisa, your hair will go back, but you'll still be living with it. And I think that what's so important is that when people see you, these 3 beautiful women sitting there, they have no idea what you go through on the daily, or that you are living with this. So, I'm going to ask each of you this question, because I think it's really important for people that are out there that don't really understand metastatic. So let's start with you, Elisa, and that is, what do you want people to understand about metastatic and really what it does to life on the daily.
I think I think what is sometimes frustrating to me, just because I think in general people maybe don't understand what metastasize means or what metastatic means, and I think that's kind of what's important. People are always asking me, so how many treatments are you going to have? Or when are you done with chemo? Or when are you going to be? I'm always going to be on medication. And for some reason, it's very different than when you were on tamoxifen or Arimidex. I don't know why, but it feels very different. And I think just dealing with the unknown of not knowing, that's kind of the hardest part for me.
Of course, it's very emotional. Of course, you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and I wanted this conversation to be very real. And, you know, and I think I am not metastatic. I have had one journey with breast cancer, but I think that people tend to be like, well, no one knows when their time is. No one knows. And they try to be supportive when they say things like that.
Yeah.
But that's easy to say until you're faced with, okay, but I could know my time frame.
Yeah, and it's true, because you can really, I mean, our doctors experience this on the regular. They understand. They've seen patients who've been through what we have. Oh, okay, well, she has pleural effusions now. That could mean this is coming. That could mean this is coming. This could, you know, our doctors do know that. So do I ask that question? No, I don't. But I think that what I would like people to know is that it's just an unknown. So to ask a question sometimes, and I find myself, I consider myself very patient with other people who don't understand. But I think just that fear and that unknowing, it's not just cancer. It's not just, you know, what we went through the last time. It's not a repeat, you know, of last time. And you'll, you know, yeah, you want to fight it. You want to do everything you can to keep it away. But there's different formulas the second time.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. And so Kathy, I'm going to ask you a different question. Okay.
Okay.
And this is one I think that we've all talked about at Beautiful Self when everyone's in the chair and we're having chats. Do you find it hard to balance this? There's two sides of the coin with friends and family. So as someone that's living with treatment, continuous treatment that you're never off of, do you find it hard to balance the one side, which is, leave me alone, I'm freaking exhausted, I'm in pain, I'm bloated, I'm miserable, get the F away from me. And then the other side of, hey, don't feel sorry for me. No one knows how long I'm going to be here and I want to live my life. Do you find it hard to, like, how do you, Kathy, balance those two?
Very,
worlds?
very, very hard to balance for me, because I'm pretty much dropping F-bombs, leave me alone, because I'm very open on how I feel. You're going to know how I'm feeling because it's written on my face, honestly. And, but it is hard because I don't want to like back down for something that I can't do that I was able to do previously. So just everything takes a certain amount of energy. Whether I took a shower, I need to go sit down. If I went and did yard work, I'm paying for it for 3 days, but nobody truly knows that. Like I don't be like, hey, I'm on the couch and I've done nothing. I haven't even brushed my teeth. I'm sitting here for a day.
Right. And nobody really understands that because.
And I'm not lazy.
Oh my God, no.
So you have that guilt behind you too. It's like, oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And a lot of people don't know that everything becomes a struggle. The simplest form of anything becomes a struggle sometimes. And it's hard to deal with that and to explain it to somebody because I don't want to be boo-hooing all the time. So it's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah. You know, and that brings up another point is that so now it's not just, okay, I'm dealing with the return. I'm dealing with stage 4. Oh, by the way, I'm dealing with anxiety and guilt and exhaustion and pain and everybody that looks at you and is like, yeah, but she's doing so good. Look at her. She's doing so good. Yeah. Look at her. She's great. She's so ready. Yeah. It's a lot of layers. So I always ask, I would ask if it was, me, that my family and friends, like, just back off and be patient. Just back
Yeah.
off and freaking be patient. That's all I can ask of you.
And I do that, and everybody around, family and friends, completely understand. It's just me who has the bigger issue.
Well, you have the guilt. I couldn't do what I did before.
Yeah.
Of course.
And having to explain it to someone and to go on, it's like, you don't want to waste energy. It's like,
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it's the tightrope. And by the way, Janelle is out there. Janelle, we all know Janelle Smith. She was one of our first Beautiful Self gals. Hi, Janelle. And she's like, couldn't agree more with everything. Been metastatic since 2012, and people think I'm fine because I have hair, and and everything else is back. So we're with you, Janelle. I'm so glad she dropped in the chat. So, D, let me ask you a question, and that is, I'm going to ask you three. All ready? What makes you mad? What makes you happy? And what makes you hopeful?
So, what makes me mad really is I know, Kathy, you said that you didn't want to know, but and part of it's on me, is that after I was done with my first diagnosis, is that I thought, okay, it's in the past. Everything is in the past. I'm done. I survived. I'm out there. But I wish somebody had stopped and said, you know what, you are. And most likely nothing will happen. But know that 30% of people who have an initial breast cancer diagnosis, it comes back as metastatic. Because then I would have done research. I would have found out how I could test myself if I needed to save up money for scans, or doing whatever I could have done to maybe be a little bit more aware. So those signs and symptoms that came up, as they started to come up, I wouldn't have pushed them off as just, oh, I'm tired, or it's the medication, or it's just the normal side effects of long-term side effects of the meds I took. So I think that is what makes me mad. What makes me hopeful is that for the first time, they have just released a cancer vaccine. A cancer vaccine.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and it's gone through trials, and it's not specifically for breast cancer, but that brings me extreme hope, because if we can get one vaccine down, if we can start doing that and actually prevent this, oh my God, it would be amazing. And what makes me happy, I could give you like the powerful boss lady, like working with Beautiful Self makes me happy, and the things that I do that makes me happy. I have to say that my life with James makes me very happy. And I'd like to stick with that. I'm okay with not doing the girl power answer right now. I'm just saying I'm happy.
Of course. It's so real. All kinds of love in this chat. All kinds of love. So thank you, Dee. That was beautiful. And now, Elisa, let me ask you, what makes you mad, happy, and hopeful?
Mad. I think I just recently found out that what makes me mad is that I think in some ways we're led to believe that we're dealing with the same cancer that we were dealing with the first time, and we're not. That makes me mad. Because the research and the testing has not really caught up to the way cancer changes in your body. So, and maybe this is just because I recently found this out. I asked the question, I just said, why are you not testing my cancer every time it comes back? We're just changing medicines, but we're not really essentially dealing with the same cancer. So that's kind of something that makes me mad. And obviously feeling like I have an expiration date makes me mad. But I try to, I do a lot of positive affirmations, and I'm constantly affirming that I'm going to be around for a long time. So that's what, kind of balances the mad for me. And I think what makes me happy is that I've always had the ability, somehow I've been blessed with seeing that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and whatever that is going to be good for me.
Absolutely.
you
And
know,
there's so many in the chat who are saying, I've been metastatic this long, I've been out this long, I've been out this long, you
Yeah.
know, and it's,
yeah.
I think
So
at the end of the day, attitude is huge
I
on
think so
this.
too. And I think, you know, my mad, yeah, it balances out with what makes me happy. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Not too many things make me mad.
You're
When I
so
found that
easy
out,
and
you know.
lovely. Yeah, you're so easy. You're so chill. No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Kathy, I want to ask you the same question. What makes you mad, happy, and hopeful?
Well, there's a lot of things to be mad about, like this whole
Mhm.
damn situation, but I can't
Right.
be mad about it every day.
Mhm.
One of the things that bothered me a lot was when I became a Google doctor.
Oh my
And-
God, you did
and-
not get your master's in Google Doctor, did you?
Oh yeah, but apparently I should be dead already.
Yeah.
It's statistics is what makes me mad, because they do statistics on survivors, people who have survived. They're not doing or statistics on metastatic people who are living. I want to see that more. You know, that's one thing that always bothered me, because when I would go research somebody my age with
Mhm.
with this disease,
Mhm.
and that's one thing that always got on my nerves. So I try to stay away from the computer in that sense, off the internet.
I can understand why that would
And,
make you mad. Okay.
And happy, well, just waking up every morning, really, and having my family, my son, and just that's what makes me happy. And of course, more research and more things for stage 4 is going to make me really happy, because, you know, I want to
Yes.
stick around. Hopeful. Well, that goes in with waking up every morning.
Right. Right. Well, you know, go ahead, go deep.
I was just going to throw in there because Kathy, like you threw out the statistics thing, and there are some people out there that like may not know, and this statistic, it's something that like I get it. I can't help but get it out of my head. But they say that on average, somebody who's diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, 25% of us make it to 3 years. The average lifespan is 5 years after diagnosis. That is a horrible thing to hear from Dr. Google, and it's literally page after page. And then what I'm thinking about, though, the hopeful side of this is that that's data that's 10 years in the rear. And for the first time, like I've started seeing, because my life like revolves around data. So my, I've started to see a couple of more. Now, if you search it, you're hearing an average lifespan of 10 years out now. So things are changing, but not quick enough, Kathy, not quick enough.
No, and I have to say, as an outsider looking in because of Beautiful Self, you know, we really shifted our gears. We were always about survivors. We have always been about not necessarily while you're fighting, but afterwards and all the trauma you go through after. But then really, and Dee, this has a lot to do with you, obviously, in our journey with you. We were like, wait a minute, I'm like there's not a lot out there for metastatic, or there's just not. I mean, whether I from the research to this, to that, to the support, there's so much support for your first initial fight. There's so much support. I mean, you feel like carried through it by the whole world. And then you're kind of dropped off into survivorship, which is no man's land. And then metastatic, I mean, it's tricky. So I think, again, I go back to saying why you're such heroes in our community, because you are on the forefront. You know what I mean? You're keeping us positive and helping us, lighting the way, you know, which leads me really to this question. I think this is a tough question, but I'm going to ask it of each of you. And that is, somebody is re-diagnosed today. They get the call, they get whatever it is, they're re-diagnosed today. So what advice, Elisa, would you give someone who just is going through that shock of today?
I think my initial feelings are always to look patiently to the future and get past the present moment and understand that things are temporary. So the feelings that you're having right now at this moment, yes, they're scary but they're temporary. And that it is a little bit of a roller coaster. You're going to be, one day you're going to be feeling great, and then you're just going to get a curveball out of nowhere, and things are going to be, hitting you quickly, and then things are going to be slow. But I think it would just have to just be vigilant, and to also be very attentive to your own health. I became much more attentive to what's going on, and I don't, call the doctor when you're not feeling something, every little thing, because, it's like you said, we talk about a fine line between what's you're neurotic about and what you're not. I would just say, proceed with patience and positivity, and just go with the flow, but keep your eyes open and be attentive.
I like that. Really be your own advocate is what you're
Yep.
saying, and be
Mhm.
patient and don't beat
Yes.
yourself up. And
Yep.
okay. Kathy, someone gets re-diagnosed today. What do you say to them?
Allow yourself to feel whatever it may be. Like, don't suppress anything. You're angry, yell. You want to punch something, not your spouse, but go punch something else. Cry and let people in. Don't close yourself off. Don't live in the horror by yourself. That's the biggest thing for me, because I would automatically just, I'm fine. I'm always fine because I'm fantastic, I say.
Yes.
and I would just shut people out.
Mhm.
But I am now more open to expressing how I feel, whatever it may be. Too. And absolutely don't hesitate to call your doctor. Don't let anything, you're not annoying. Just call, keep calling.
Yeah, it's your life. I think it's
Yeah.
okay if you push.
Definitely take charge of your health, being your own advocate, and you have to push, because unfortunately people put you on the side. I mean, they don't, some healthcare workers, and not all, I don't want to stereotype, but they cannot see what you're going through because they're not living it. So you are just out of your mind, and you just want answers and you want help. And it'll be 3 days before, or a week, because of insurance. And there's a lot of things that go on, the stress that you put yourself through just to get through one appointment.
Yeah, one appointment is right. And I can't even
There's
imagine.
a lot of appointments.
You live by a book, I'm sure. You live by a calendar and a schedule. I know even Elisa, for you to be here today, you were like, okay, I'm going to move my chemo. I'm going to do that. Everything is about moving your life around this dis-ease, what is going on in your body. Dee,
And just
go
one
ahead,
more
Kathy.
thing, Kat, just to take it half a day at a time, not even a full day. Take a half a day at a time.
I love that. How about just a minute at a time?
Yeah.
So Dee, I'm gonna throw something at you that we haven't discussed, but it stuck out in my mind because it was one of the most honest statements I think I've ever heard, that someone would say. And when you and I were chatting one time, and we were chatting about metastatic, and this was way back, you said, Jill, let's face it, we're like to the community, like not just someone like, outside the community who hasn't had cancer, but within the community, like someone like myself, you said, let's face it, I'm your worst nightmare. I'm your worst nightmare. And that really hit me like that. I got really emotional from that. And I was like, because as survivors, we want to support, but at the same time, it's like, oh my God, yeah, that is a fear. It's like another layer that's added into the support that you can find in the community. Like you want to support metastatic also, but I'm also afraid of it too. It's like all these things. So I'm going to change this question a little bit for you. Okay. I know I'm throwing a curveball at you and say, what would you say to a survivor like myself who lives in anxiety and fear of it's 30%, it can come back? I know I'm throwing a curveball at you, but
That's okay. No, I've been in this situation before, and I think I was just taking a moment because I remember women's faces. Like I'll be sitting in the waiting room, and because my hair is growing back and their hair is growing back, they're like, how far out are you? Are you done? Are you this or you're that? And the look on their face when you say, no, it came back, and it came back with a vengeance, is hard. So, see, chemo brain.
Chemo brain is real.
Question.
Well, so the question would be, if a survivor said to you as a metastatic woman, I'm filled with anxiety about this coming back.
Yes. So there are a couple of things. There are 3 or 4 different labs that most insurances do cover if you've had a primary breast cancer diagnosis and you're now labeled a survivor. And I don't have the name of all 4 of those, but I'll put them in. Most of them are covered by insurance, and the maximum cost for one out of pocket is $100. And these are tests that Memorial Sloan Kettering said should have been done on you all along, because it can monitor your blood and catch things before they arrive. So I could put those in there. The second is be your own advocate. So if you are not feeling good, if you're nervous that it's coming back, go back to your doctors, find out what tests you can get, find out how to work in scans if there's a possibility to do that. But don't just let it be, because if you just sit and worry, then you're not really living your life either. But find out those few things that you can do to kind of ease your mind, whether that's labs, whether it is, knowing what signs and symptoms to look for, or if it's finding a group of like-minded women so you can better understand what to look out for if things start changing. But I have to say that, unfortunately, I think it's in your hands.
I like that a lot. It's a reality. I think within our community, as the survivor community, not the metastatic community, because we're all little pockets. Everyone thinks it's the same thing, but we're all little pockets. I think it's like, okay, you know what? Got to put your big girl panties on, because this can happen. 30% chance. So you got to be your advocate, got to keep moving and got to support. We all have to support each other. And Janelle's in the chat, and she said, there's definitely not a lot out there for metastatic. A lot of people hear breast cancer and think, oh, it's one of the good cancers to get. We hear that, which is ridiculous. I'm hoping hearing our stories can help change people's thoughts on breast cancer to include metastatic. So thanks, Janelle, because that is absolutely a huge piece of it. And this show has been really inspiring. And I know it's hard to ask you come in and kind of just, talk about this thing that is in your life on the daily. So thank you so much. Thank you for being so real. Thank you for taking the time. You ladies are very inspiring. You're going to inspire so many who are more shy and don't want to get out there and talk about it, but really want that support and want to feel part of the community. We love you all so much. And you know that. So thank you for being here. Michelle, I think this was such a beautiful segment, and they're heroes. I got nothing else. They're just amazing. I
would like to interject, because I feel as though, because you had the beautiful self experience and we got to spend a little time with you and hear your stories, and then in turn watch you evolve as women over the years. And I will say it's years that we have all been here. It is a blessing, and to share these unspoken narratives and your story, because your story is not so-and-so's story, and that the fact that you share them with us and our community and strangers out there like Sue Kyle in Ireland who's listening to this right now, who is just like, it is a gift, and you all are gifts. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And anyone, if you have any questions or any chats, and Dee, I'd love to know if you could drop more information about those tests that, and, that would be great support for the community too, if we could toss that in there. So listen, everyone out there, we love you. Thank you for jumping in. We'll be back next week, where we're going to have a specialist coming in on pain management. So we're really excited about that, because that is part of, the lives that we have to live in. So as always, stay strong, stay positive. You are beautiful, and we love our community. And ladies, have the best day. We love you so much. Thanks for sharing yourselves. This was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Love you, ladies.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.